The fact is, most students, that is what they're worried about. What do they want to hear? What do they want to see? My advice to them is forget about what they want to hear. Forget about what they want to see. I just told you, they value almost every quality that's positive. You should spend all of your effort reflecting on and communicating what you think makes you special. What do you think they ought to value about you? That's what you should be trying to communicate through those essays. And by the way, essays and interviews are your only two opportunities to do that. It's the only two parts of the application where you can actually focus the attention of the admissions officers where you want it. So my answer to your question, the most effective personal statement is the one that best delivers the most important thing about you personally that you want the college to appreciate about you. First of all, understand whatever the topic you choose, the subject is you. It's a personal statement. The person is you. This is why many students write beautiful essays about why they love and admire their grandmother. And the admission officer finishes reading and goes, "We want to admit your grandmother." But they didn't share anything about themselves. You have to remember you're looking for kids who stand out. Well, how will I know if you stand out this year? It could be that this year from China, there were a ton of kids applying with your background, your interests, your skills. So they'd be very cautious. On the other hand, anytime they run into someone with a really interesting profile, where it's clear that the evidence is, oh, she's qualified, but more than that, her story is really unusual. Like, I can't recall reading any other student with, that's the one that they sort of circle and say, is there a reason not to admit her? The most important suggestion I have for students in China is do not translate the letter of reference for the teacher. If the college feels that the student has been able to change the recommendation, they'll throw it out. How will a school know if you just translated it or changed it? You cannot. An official reference has to come directly from the teacher or the school or some other organization. There is an issue of translation. In my experience, many teachers at those schools will find someone in their high school, a colleague in the faculty who knows enough English to translate it for them. And then they sign at the bottom, I wrote this and it was translated by my colleague, and they send it directly. That's okay. Or you can send it to a professional. There are organizations out there precisely for that. So people can write a reference in one language. They send it directly from the high school officially to this organization. That organization translates it and certifies that they got it directly from the teacher and that this is an official translation. So that's my first observation. Be careful. Don't lead the admissions office to think that you got to influence your references. That has to be the writing of the teacher. That's the first thing I would observe to them. Be very careful about ranking. This really should be about a good fit. What are your goals? One young lady who was very talented and had a passion for making films and ended up at one of the best film schools in the country. At one point, she took the SAT again and it went up a lot. And she was asking, could I apply to Harvard? And I'm like, Harvard doesn't have a filmmaking degree, okay? Now, you could still be a filmmaker and go to Harvard, but I thought you had decided consciously that what you wanted was training as a filmmaker at the undergraduate level in the academic program. You cannot get that at Harvard. Why would you apply that? Okay. The other thing I observe to students, and I hope families will take it to heart, is this. I ask them, do you have a dream school? And I'm surprised how many already do. Cornell, Stanford, whatever. I said, here's one thing I can guarantee you. The vast majority of happy and successful people in the world did not go to Stanford, did not go to Princeton. Whatever your goals, whatever your needs, and this is why I'm proud of the American higher education system, whatever your goals and needs, I'm willing to bet there's a lot of schools that could serve you well. And that should be your goal. Not to find one perfect school, not to find, quote, a dream school, but to find a few schools, all of which can serve me well. And that's what I would then help students try and make the best case for themselves.